The opinions expressed by the host and guest on this program are solely their own and do not represent the views or opinions of Blind United. We strive to provide diverse perspectives and discussions on our platform, but the opinions expressed should be understood as personal viewpoints and not reflective of Blind United as an organization.
It's time. It's time for
Coffee time.
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 And here is your Coffee Time crew.
Well, good Monday morning, everyone. And as always, welcome back to Coffee Time with Blind United. I got Miss Carol with me this morning, my brother Pedro. So good morning, y'all.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Happy Monday, everybody. Happy Monday, everybody.
It's been a busy weekend. Everybody sound like they just trying to get in the groove this morning.
Yeah.
Hope everybody got their coffee and whatnot and all that
Man,
good
I got
stuff.
that midnight roast, and I'm still like,
Mm.
still
Okay.
trying to catch up.
Hey, well, like I said, it's been a long weekend, y'all. So, but anyway, let's jump into. We got a couple interest groups tonight. Actually, both of them are facilitated by George Zavala. Tonight we have advocacy at 6 p.m. And then we come right back to back with Jaws Tips and Tricks at 7 p.m. So either one, I mean, advocacy is really important right now. I mean, with all this stuff that the little orange monster's doing, we definitely need to advocate for ourselves and one another and, let him know he can't get away with a lot of this stuff. And then on the flip side, the second group, tips and tricks. I mean, maybe we can show you something to make one of them jobs that you do on a regular basis with Jaws. Maybe we can find a way to show you a little tip or trick to make that, a little bit easier for you, So come on out, check us out, starting at 6 p.m. Pacific time tonight. So anyway, again, a great weekend. The crafting event, man, nice turnout. I think everybody did well, I believe. Didn't hear anybody complaining. So I hope everybody did good. I know not nobody made $1 million. At least they didn't tell me anyway.
But we had fun in the weekend, though.
Yeah, and then yesterday we had another special event by a very dear friend of ours, a friend of the show, and Blind United, and we went over there and hung out with her and celebrated her son, Jayon, and his graduation. So once again, congratulations, Jayon, on your graduation going into high school. So, man, again, and thank you guys for everything you did at the house yesterday. I mean, the event was really, really great. A lot of good food, good entertainment, all that good stuff. A lot of good company. So we had a lot of fun. Long, long day. I didn't get home until after 10 o'clock, Pedro.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
I didn't get home until like 8:40 something, man. My ride was, But man, you
Right.
had a long distance. Ed was coming from out east. Carol from the next county east,
Oh,
into
wow.
LA,
Wow.
passing downtown, going a little more into the west side of LA.
Mm-mm. I
Yeah,
know
it
you
was.
broke down today then. Woo.
Well, and then I still had to do all the prep for today when I got home.
Man.
So it was actually after midnight by the time I got into bed.
Ooh, hey.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but we all good. I got 3 articles set up for y'all. So, anyway, just remind me, what's the title on the first one, Pedro? I'm sorry. I think it's
And the age that we're connected more than
oh,
ever.
okay. Yeah. So we'll run this one. We are LXAH. We're a lot more connected Everybody's walking around with phones. We're getting these notifications about this, that, and the other thing. And some people just can't handle all that. So anyway, let's check out this article and we'll talk about it on the other side.
Hey, Blind United crew. Grab your first cup as the Coffee Time crew gets into this first article. In an age where we are more connected than ever, a surprising trend is emerging that speaks volumes about our relationship with our devices. A new study reveals that many of us are intentionally disconnecting, at least from the constant barrage of breaking news, a phenomenon some are calling phone fatigue. The findings suggest a significant shift in how people are choosing to engage with the world, prioritizing peace of mind over being plugged in at all times. The study, which surveyed thousands of smartphone users, found that nearly 80% do not receive any news alerts on their devices. Perhaps more telling is that a significant portion of that group didn't just passively ignore the feature. They made a conscious decision to go into their settings and actively disable all notifications from news applications. This represents a clear and intentional move away from the always-on news cycle that has dominated the last decade, indicating that, for many, the cost of constant updates has begun to outweigh the benefits. The driving force behind this digital retreat appears to be a widespread feeling of being overwhelmed. For years, the constant stream of alerts for everything from political turmoil to natural disasters and economic uncertainty has contributed to a culture of anxiety and doom scrolling. By turning off these alerts, people are taking a deliberate step to protect their mental well-being and reclaim a sense of peace from the relentless 24/7 news cycle. It's a form of setting a digital boundary against a world that constantly demands our attention. It is important to note that this trend does not necessarily signal a rise in apathy. Instead, experts suggest it marks a shift toward more intentional news consumption. Rather than having news pushed to them at all hours, many are now choosing to engage on their own terms. This could mean visiting a trusted news website once a day, listening to a daily news podcast during a commute, or subscribing to curated email newsletters. It represents a move from being a passive recipient of information to an active and discerning consumer. This phenomenon of phone fatigue is a powerful reminder that more information is not always better. It signals a growing public awareness about the importance of managing our digital environment to preserve focus, reduce stress, and be more present in our daily lives. News organizations are also taking note, knowing they can no longer rely solely on push alerts to reach their audience and must instead focus on building trust and providing value that encourages users to actively seek them out. This trend towards digital quiet seems to be growing. Have you changed how you manage notifications on your own devices? And what has your experience been? We'd love to hear your story in the comments. Now back to the Coffee Time crew for their thoughts.
All right. Well, first of all, Tisha is in the comments. She said it is Monday morning. Happy Monday. Hey. And then also Miss Monica is in there. And she said, yes, it was a long weekend. We're very busy, but we had a lot of fun. And thank you once again, Tisha, for all you did. You did the damn thing, girl. So anyway, I think this is part of the plan from the right at this point. They're trying to do what they can to desensitize us, right? They're hitting us, as they say, flood the zone, so they hit us with all of this garbage. And, we get to a point where, you know what, I'm just tired of hearing it. Now you turned off all of this stuff. Now we desensitized and we're not paying attention to what's going on. There's a lot in what they said also, as far as, gaining that trust because, mainstream media, a lot of people don't have any confidence in them anymore. You know what I'm saying? You look at all of what, Fox was doing, for the little orange monster that, they were 100% behind him and always, just feeding what and they had a nerve to name it, right? Alternative facts. How could you have alternative facts? It's either fact or it's fiction, right? I don't get what an alternative fact is. I mean, something that you make up. Oh, I don't like your fact. Here's another one. I like this one. I mean, that's what that sounds like. So, anyway, I think that's what it is. They just trying to really desensitize us. And I encourage folks, right? Don't let them get to you. Pay attention because, uh, uh, it's our life. It's our way of life, and if we become so disconnected that next thing we know, what are you doing coming out of your house? You have no business coming out of your house. Well, what do you mean? This is America. I got freedoms. Oh no, you didn't pay attention. We took that away last week. So anyway, that's my thought. What you got, Gary?
I mean, even before this guy got into, the White House, I'm just one of those individuals. I'd never like to just be overwhelmed with a whole bunch of notifications about this or that. Now I do pay attention to what's going on in the world right now. I'll kind of turn on the TV and listen to the world news, but I don't do it repeatedly over and over and over, like, turn to channel 4, turn to channel 5, turn to channel 8. But I do try to stay just present in the moment of what's going on, and try to live my best life without being overwhelmed with a lot of nonsense. I connect with people, and they don't always agree with what I say, but we agree to disagree with whatever is happening, and we try to stay aware. That way we can stay alive about whatever is happening in the present time. But to just be bombarded with alerts about news, breaking news, breaking news, nah, I'm not with all of that to disturb me constantly throughout the day. I'm just one of those individuals that just don't have that on my phone. I mean, I get news sent to me, but it's silent to where I choose when I want to actually listen to what's going on. And if
Right.
it's something that's an emergency, then I'll get a call from someone that is generally concerned about me to let me know. Now weather alerts and things of that sort. Yeah. Tell me if it's a tornado headed my way, or tell me if it's a flood alert where I need to, leave my residence. But as far as what's going on with the Orange Man right now, no, I don't need to know what's happening at that moment unless it's something that is an emergency for me to either vacate or do something different.
I got you. I got you. And just like I said, I just think they trying to flood the zone. Anyway, Brother Paul says, good morning. So good morning, Paul. What you got, Pedro?
Well, I get what Carol is saying as well because sometimes it could get overbearing. Um, hearing what's going on and getting a little frustrated at what you see because of what's happening and what's happening in the streets, what's happening in the White House, and what is happening to our brown people in the streets right now. Um, Getting your family members followed in cars, that can be stressful, and even getting the notifications of what's happening in the Middle East as conflicts are brewing over there. Sometimes some of these things does get overbearing. Sometimes it's good just to unplug for a few hours or set times when you check into the news and just you go into your news and check it, at your day and time. Because yes,
At
mental
your
health,
leisure.
yeah, at your leisure. Thank you, Ed. Because mental health and having your mental space is something that can be helpful, even in good to your health, because you get to sit down, whatever it may be, even if it's smelling candles or doing something or relaxing or hearing
You
music,
can
you know.
set the mood, right? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Let me get a cocktail or something
Hmm.
before I get into this.
Well, that too, or just to have your own time away from the
Right, right, right.
news, just to have that mental health, that mental space. Sometimes hearing this news get you wind up, and sometimes it does come off, and other people might be, oh, you're aggressive, and you might not even know why you might be aggressive at the moment, and it could be all this news coming at you and going, trying to pump you up,
That's
but
true.
and
Because it can
having
change your mood. You're right, Pedro.
and having that space, that time alone, or that entertainment time, what I do, I try to unplug from all that because it's all over my stuff. I actually unplug it. Like, let's go watch a movie. Let me try to get lost on a little series. Let me try to watch 3 episodes in a
Right,
row.
right.
Because I allow those notifications to come in, and sometimes you get deep into it, and Ed, how it is.
A designated disconnect time. That's what you
Yeah.
need. You know
Hmm.
what? I ain't got. Man, this shit is crazy right now. Let me go just disconnect and try to regenerate and get my thoughts right before I think about this stuff again. Because I mean, again, all this stuff he's doing is really stressful. And again, I mean, I'm sorry, but I believe that's part of their game. I think that's part of their process. It's what they
No,
want to
I
do.
believe that too, though. That is another part of the game. Flood the news sphere to overwhelm them, that they can concentrate on one particular aspect of this Trump regime.
Well,
That
Right.
another aspect of that also as well is the way he's going around and sued these media companies.
exactly,
So now they're also scared to put out anything negative about him
or what's happening right now in the
or
conflict
the truth about
language.
what's going on.
Yeah, the
Right.
language that I heard was like, well, basically the orange man didn't have a choice. They tied his hand behind his back. No, they didn't. So
They,
just to,
they still don't have no proof that they got any nuclear weapons.
they
Well,
don't. Yeah.
I heard somebody say today, well, why else would you build a lab 300 feet underneath the ground?
Mhm.
Okay, how about because it's nuclear and if something go wrong, it's buried rather than being released into the atmosphere?
Yeah, but
You
look,
know,
they might use nuclear a product to do
well,
science
right? They have
experiments.
they have nuclear power plants.
Exactly. And they use nuclear power to do science experiments. And sometimes you need to get away from a certain like particles penetrating, and that requires going underground for certain experiments.
Exactly.
Even in computing, you have to go underground and stuff like that. For
And then
for
that organization, what is it, the nuclear weapon, nuclear whatever
oh, the
the guy,
World Nuclear
yeah,
Atomic
right?
Agency or
They
something like that.
said there is no proof that they have any uranium refined enough to create a weapon. But according to oh boy, I mean, he even called out his own people talking about well, they don't know what the hell they talking about. No,
Well,
they
yeah. Well, his
they're only a
own.
week away from having a weapon, or
Hmm.
they could have a weapon in less than a month, whatever.
Um, yes,
You know,
Tulsi Gabbard stated like 2 months ago that Iran don't have no nuclear capabilities when it comes to weaponry.
right,
No one, no. And for him to appoint her and then dismiss her, that tells you the type of person he is. He won't listen to any type of reason. He dismissed her. He dismissed her by going, "Well, she don't know what she's talking about," and that's it. Well,
right,
you're the one that appointed her. If you
right,
know she don't know nothing, what the hell is she doing there?
and you also said that you only hire the best.
Exactly. But you see how it could get overwhelming with folk that like you and me, Ed, we follow the news. Carol is more laid back, so I understand sometimes they want to have, way less of that. But it's always good to check in right quick. Let me look what is going on. And for me it's checking out.
Right.
I
Well,
take it as checking out. Let me check out and go watch a movie. Let me try to distract myself because sometimes if I get pumped up or wired up or stuff like that, it happens because the news cycle how it's going and
Yeah,
stuff.
we've become this right now culture. Now, every time bloop bloop, you hear this or you hear
Hmm.
this,
Hmm.
and we want to know everything right now. The phone has programmed us to
Yeah,
where whatever occurs, we don't have patience to wait. So we need to know whatever it is, whether we're driving, whether we're walking, whether we're sitting. If the phone alerts us to something, we need to know right now. And for me, that's just
exactly.
not important to me.
Yes,
Right.
I choose when the right now is for me. Not saying
Right.
that
that's a
what you
good point. No,
gentlemen
I
are
do that
doing is
too.
incorrect. It's just that I don't want to be overwhelmed with a whole lot of stuff right then because it will change your mood. It'll
Y-
change the whole day for you,
Yeah,
depending on what it is. And a lot of the information may not be accurate. That way, then you have to go in and try to research for facts.
yeah,
Is this
yeah,
fact
yeah,
or is this fiction, like Ed was saying earlier? And all of that stuff can actually change you. And I
yeah,
want to still be in control of me and
yes.
then choose when it is that I want to receive it. That way I can sit down and light me some incense and get in my
You touched on a good
aromatherapy
point, though.
and
You
get
touched
ready for it.
Yeah, you touch on a good point because we always have our devices with us, and sometimes we get a ding or a ring, and we might be cutting up or cooking or doing in the
Mm-hmm.
middle of something, and we will stop, not
Stop.
thinking. We won't.
Stop.
We don't.
Mm-hmm.
We just
What's
stop
that
and take
notification?
that.
Let me see
That's
what
right.
that is. It could be
Yeah,
That's right.
something important, you
and you know
know.
what? What we could actually be doing, and this is what I've been stressing with one of my family members, and I've been working on it too. I'm like, look, if I'm in the middle of something, their their name pops up. All the information I'm gonna need is going to be there, so I don't need to stop and
That's right.
cutting this
It's going to
fruit.
be there when
Let
I
me
get
keep
back to it.
going. Yeah,
Right.
and let me keep going, do my thing, whatever I'm doing, and then come back to it. And
So,
and that releases the less stress of worrying. Let me get to this phone. Let me put everything down. It stops that stress right there.
right,
You know.
right. Well,
And
all
that's a
right.
hard
Well,
habit. Oh, I'm sorry, Ed.
no, go ahead and finish up, Carol.
I was just saying that's a hard habit for a lot of people to break because you're so programmed to where you hear that ding or what have you. And like you say, you could be cooking, or even you're on the toilet and you rush to try to figure out, okay, who is this or what is that, or so we have to reprogram ourselves sometimes in order to ignore it or silence it. But that's really difficult for a lot of people to do.
Right. So, all right. Well, right quick, Tisha says she love her some Monica. So we love Monica too, Tisha.
Yep. I
Yes.
love Monica too.
So that's right. So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and get into a couple of these promos and then our second article for the day. So we'll be right back.
If you'd like to know more about Blind United, you can visit our website at blindunited.org. You can email us at info@blindunited.org. You can call us at 909-846-8825. You can follow us on Instagram at Blind United Interest Groups. You can follow us on X at Blind United 22. You can watch our YouTube channel, Blind United. You could join our Facebook group, Blind United Interest Groups, or you can follow our Facebook page, Blind United.
Hustling jingles, $10 a shots. Birthday beats and holiday knocks. Gotcha covered for the ones you love. Personalized joy like a custom glove. Get your jingle hot and fresh. Info at blindunited.org. $10 only, no more, no less. We make memories you can't afford. Got a catchy tune for your babe. Poppin' beats like dreams we crave. For Mama's Day or Papa's cheer, let's make smiles from ear to ear. Get your jingle hot and fresh. Info at blindunited.org. $10 only, no more, no less. We make memories you can't afford.
Well, I'm gonna say something right quick since Pedro did that particular promo. Pedro, you did the damn thing, dog. Them promos, Tisha had him create a couple promos for one for her son and his graduation, and then another one in appreciation for her uncle, but I'm not gonna get into detail. But I actually shed a tear.
I know. I like the uncle's
Wow.
one. That one kept. I had heard it a couple of times. I liked how it came out. I was like,
Yeah,
whoa.
it came out really, really, really. Man, I swear. I mean,
I think you were not the only one there. A lot of people told me, "Oh my God, he put that
oh
thing
my
in the
God! I mean, but you did the damn thing, Pedro. I mean, you got that thing to say exactly to relay her sentiments to her son and her uncle. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
So
The
Mm.
you
uncle
did
was
that, dog.
really touched. Was really
You
touched.
know, so and that's what these things are for. I mean, this is not something that you just come up with. I mean, again, this is something that Pedro puts work into, but it's also something that's very, very special. You know what I'm saying? That these people can hold on to and have, for future. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you turn it into a ringtone or whatever, whatever. It's just something to have. There's something special. It's not to have it. Oh, I mean, you get a Christmas card or birthday card or
Yes,
congratulations card, whatever. What do? You read it, fold it up, and put it away. How often do you read that card again?
Hmm.
yeah. And one of my upcoming technology classes for the iPhone is gonna be how to make a ringtone. And there you go.
There
It
you
could be
go.
done from the
So
jingle.
there you go. So all right. Well, we're gonna jump into this next one. So I know everybody, probably don't even pay attention to it anymore. We're going to the market. Remember, especially here in California,
Ah,
we had a
thank you,
big
Ed. Thank
ban.
you for this. I just realized what it is.
We had a ban on plastic products and stuff like that, and one of the ways to deter us from the plastic bags and stuff at the market here is they literally charge us 10 cents a bag for our plastic bag. Now, I mean, I will give them credit. We get a better bag because the ones they used to give us for free would oftentimes rip and break. But these new ones are pretty strong. But bottom line, check out this article just so you know that your 10 cent is working. So check this out.
Blind United crew. Grab your next cup as the Coffee Time crew gets into the second article. For years now, many of us have become accustomed to that small but noticeable fee for a plastic shopping bag at the checkout counter. It's a minor inconvenience that has often left people wondering if it truly makes a difference in the grand scheme of things. According to a new study, the answer is a resounding yes, particularly for our oceans and coastlines, proving that this small change in our routine is having a big impact. The comprehensive new study analyzed years of data from shoreline cleanup events in coastal communities across the country. It found that in areas with policies that either ban or place a fee on single-use plastic bags, there was a dramatic decrease in plastic bag litter, ranging from 25 to as high as 47%. This provides the strongest evidence yet that these simple policies are directly preventing one of the most common forms of plastic pollution from ever reaching our marine ecosystems. The impact of reducing this specific type of litter cannot be overstated. Plastic bags are notoriously harmful to marine life. Sea turtles often mistake the floating bags for jellyfish, a primary food source, leading to fatal blockages in their digestive systems. Other birds and marine mammals can become entangled in the bags, and as they slowly break down over hundreds of years, they create tiny microplastics that contaminate the water and enter the global food chain. The success of these policies lies in simple behavioral economics. The small fee or outright ban serves as a consistent reminder and a gentle financial nudge that encourages a shift in consumer habits, making the use of reusable bags the new default. We have seen this play out in real time in states like California, where a statewide policy has been in effect for years, fundamentally changing how people approach their daily shopping trips and normalizing the use of reusable alternatives beyond just bags. These policies have also had a valuable educational effect, raising public awareness about the broader problem of single-use plastics. They demonstrate that small, targeted legislative actions can lead to significant and measurable positive outcomes for our environment. While the global challenge of plastic pollution is immense, This study confirms that the fee we pay at the register is more than just an extra charge. It's a proven investment in healthier oceans. These policies show that small collective changes can have a big environmental impact. Have you noticed a change in your own habits or seen less plastic litter in your community since these fees were introduced? Let us know what you've observed. Now back to the Coffee Time crew for their thoughts.
Well, I mean, I get what they're saying now. They're calling it, those were single-use plastic bags, and I guess the ones we're paying 10 cents for technically are not because they are thicker, right? But I mean, in my life, no, there ain't really no change. I mean, I saved the single-use ones just like I'm now saving these, and the reason I save them is because I mean, I don't know about the stores that you guys go to, but the one I go to, if I come in there with my own bags, I got to bag my own groceries. So it's almost like that 10%, that 10 cent a bag is I'm paying for the guy to bag my groceries or the young lady or whoever. I mean, I don't know if that's in there or not, but I knew when it first came out, I was tripping because, we used to get all of that stuff for free, right? And then all of a sudden they started these newer bags. And I said, okay, well, I don't necessarily need plastic. Go ahead and let me have the paper. Oh, well, we don't have paper no more. What do you mean you ain't got paper bags no more? You know what I'm saying? Come on now, but bottom line, it is what it is. I'm glad it's doing its job, Again, nobody wants to see all that pollution in the ocean. Nobody's trying, intensely, I believe, trying to, do harm to the sea life, So I'm just glad to see that it's working, So, but now I just wish I could come up with something to do with all these bags. I mean, I could just sell them back for a nickel a piece. I'd be okay. But anyway, so that's my take on it, Carol. What you got?
So far, I have not seen any store down here in Texas that we have to pay, for the bags. I've noticed though a lot of the stores that used to bag our groceries, you're having to bag them now yourself. I use the plastic bags, for little trash. I put them in my bathroom, in my bedroom, the little
Right.
trash cans that I have. And then I'll put them in my big trash bag that I take to the curb, every week. But to intentionally just go to the lake and, throw it in the ocean to destroy the sea life, no, that's nothing that my intention is. I'm understanding that, when they pick the trash up once a week, they take it to a landfill. Now, what happens to it once it leaves there, I don't know. I'm a big recycler of, other goods, but plastic bags, unfortunately, is just not one that will be able to be recycled. Now, I do remember at one time they did try to stop plastic bags here. And you're right, they didn't have paper. That was an option. You had to buy this type of bag at that particular time. And it was almost like, a little tote bag. And you could wash it out and take it back, because when you purchase meat, sometimes it's a little damp or it may have a little leakage and you didn't want to contaminate anything else that you were going to use this reusable bag that you paid for. But that did not last because, parents were complaining. They used the plastic bags for their diapers and disposals and different things of that sort. So it didn't last long here. But so far, I haven't gone to a store where I have to purchase a bag, but I'm not saying they're not out there. I just, haven't come across that. But I'm happy to hear that it is something good that is happening
Right.
from the process of this 10 cents, But you're
Right.
right. I can't, if I had to spend it, I don't know how I would get that money back.
Well, you're not. You're not. I mean, again, I use mine for the same reasons that you use yours, but just to clear up some, it's not that people are intentionally going in and releasing the bags down by the ocean or whatever. It's the fact that once they get to the landfill or whatever. Even if the wind is blowing in your neighborhood and blows a trash can open, these bags catch the air, and often they'll end up in the water.
True. That is true.
That's so that's what the big issue was with the
Yeah.
getting rid of them. So
Mm-hmm.
go ahead, Pedro.
Yeah. Also, recycling these bags, even when they have them in possession, to recycle these is pretty difficult. Um, with plastic products, you know, we took a slight approach that was, well, these are durable, it's plastic, we could get rid of them. And I'm not just saying the bags, I'm saying plastic products and things that contain plastic, like for example, sometimes our plastic water bottles. That's why we're more inclined to push to a canteen, buy a metal canteen and stuff like that, because these water bottles leak, uh, contaminates into your water while they sit in the hot air, and then they contaminate the planet as well. And it's not the people doing it intentionally. It's just plastic lasts long.
Well,
Think
you do
about
know,
this.
Pedro. I'm
Uh,
sorry, Pedro. You do know that the main issue with the plastic water bottles is not the plastic; it's the coating that they put on the inside of the bottle that's
mm,
doing the contamination.
okay, okay. And yeah, so like even with our, let's say for examples, our TVs or things that made to be almost used into like real fast. Like let's say, I know plastic water bottles. It is so easy to have them around. They won't break like a glass bottle.
Right,
They're
Hmm.
not heavy as carrying different let's say glass material or even metal metal water bottles and stuff like that. So it's sometimes the easiness of having a water bottle kind of
right.
hits us in the butt, because we're like, oh, this is easy, let me do it. And a lot of that, and not just in water bottles, and it's a lot of other stuff too. Even with our food, I was at a restaurant and I was looking around and I was like, man, I left a little bit of food in my plate, and I'm like, a lot of this food is gonna go into the trash, you know?
Well, you remember that article we did that 30 to 40% of the food that we purchase ends up in a landfill.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's wasted.
Like you said, when you're at that restaurant, maybe you didn't eat your whole plate. They're gonna
yeah.
scrape it off into the garbage. It's gonna end up in the landfill. I mean, So
Mhm,
I mean, again, and then look at something else. One thing that we talking about water bottles versus these plastic bags. You can recycle your water bottles.
Yes, you
Try to
can.
take them bags down to recycle. Man, we don't take those. They don't do that. Now, they'll take the water bottles, they'll take the soda bottles, they'll even take, the bleach
Laundry
the
soap.
detergent laundry soap bottles and stuff like that, fabric softener bottles, all that kind of stuff. But they don't take them bags,
No.
So they don't have they need a recycling setup for that. I mean, I remember we had some markets out here, kind of like a U Save market or whatever.
mhm.
You can buy dented products or stuff like that. Maybe somebody dropped a can of, a case of canned goods, a couple cans got dented or whatever. They got markets where you can go buy that stuff, right? The
Yes.
ones I used to go to, they had a big old bin in the front of the store that people used to drop their plastic bags in because they did not provide bags. So you could go over there and just pull out whatever bags you wanted. But again, once we did this other thing, all that stuff's changed up. I mean, in the beginning, when it was also during COVID, all this other kind of stuff, they said, "Oh no, we can't use your bag because of COVID. We don't know if somebody in your house got COVID or whatever. That's why they wouldn't bag your groceries if you brought them, right? Your own bags back. Now, that's not an issue anymore, but again, they still will not bag your groceries with your bags. If you buying bags, they'll bag your groceries. At least the stores around my
Yeah,
house.
over here, there it's certain stores that they bag your groceries. But when it came to the selling the bags, and the bags are thicker, and yeah, they
They're a better
withstand
bag.
more. Yeah, better bag. But think about that. Sometimes, like I forget, and not having a car where I can have a compartment to put these cloth bags and stuff like that, and I forget, and a lot of people do. I know people that even have vision and have cars, and sometimes they forget. But there are folks that do carry those bags and go in that route for not spending money. But look, think
Right.
about the money that they're making.
Yeah, they making a bunch of money on it. So
Hmm.
anyway, let's go ahead and jump into another set of promos, and we got one more article, and I know at least two of us gonna have quite a bit to say about this next one. But anyway, let's jump into the promos, and then we'll get into it. Did you know Blind United offers free training in assistive technology? We call them interest groups. We offer training in JAWS, NVDA, iPhone, iPad, as well as Meta Ray-Bans. We also have groups like support group, cooking groups, and crafting groups. There are also groups for entertainment like movie night and RS game night. For more information about all the interest groups that we offer, just email us at info@blindunited.org or visit our Facebook group, Blind United Interest Group. We would love to have you be part of the Blind United crew.
Throw on the blue, yeah, we rep that crew. Blind United strong, we staying true. From Smart to 4X, come get your fit. Royal with the logo, we all legit. 15 till July 26. After the party, we raising a fix. Get it now while the deal still live. Loyal to the cause, we thrive and survive. Rock the logo, show who you are. Standing for the vision, we've come so far. It's more than merch, it's a movement we live. Loyal to the cause with all we give. From baked goods to tech, we building the way. But that royal blue shirt, it's here to stay. Don't sleep, grab yours before the shift. After the 90s party, it's a price uplift. 15 till July 26. After the party, we raising the fix. Get it now while the deal still live. Loyal to the cause, we thrive and survive.
All right. Right quick, Tisha did a comment. She said, yes, Pedro had us moist. Okay. I'm so glad I am not taking that the wrong way. But anyway, we love you, Tisha. We just messing with you, baby. So anyway, this one here is something that, kind of near and dear to me and my brother Pedro, especially. But evidently they're doing some new research as, cannabis becomes more and more legal, and, they're doing more and more with it, and bringing out the higher THC levels. And I guess that's what's supposed to be the problem. So anyway, let's check this out, and we'll talk about it on the other side.
Hey, Blind United crew. Grab another cup as the Coffee Time crew gets into this final article. As cannabis becomes increasingly legalized and socially accepted across the country, the public conversation has often focused on its potential benefits and tax revenues. However, a sobering new analysis is sounding the alarm on significant and previously underrecognized health risks, specifically linking marijuana use to severe cardiovascular events. This research adds a critical layer of caution to the ongoing debate about the substance's place in society. The large-scale analysis, which tracked individuals over several years, delivered a startling conclusion. It found that individuals who use marijuana have a dramatically increased chance of dying from cardiovascular-related causes, such as a heart attack or a stroke, when compared to non-users. The findings were significant enough to establish one of the strongest links yet between cannabis consumption and life-threatening heart and brain health emergencies, challenging the narrative that the substance is benign. Experts involved in the analysis point to a growing concern that is amplifying these risks: the ever-increasing potency of modern cannabis. Unlike the marijuana of a few decades ago, which had relatively low levels of the psychoactive compound THC, today's selectively bred strains are significantly more powerful. This higher potency means users, whether they are aware of it or not, are consuming a much larger dose of a substance known to increase heart rate and put acute stress on the cardiovascular system when a person uses high-potency cannabis. The THC can cause a rapid increase in heart rate and blood pressure, forcing the heart to work much harder and demand more oxygen. For individuals who may have underlying or undiagnosed heart conditions, such as high blood pressure or coronary artery disease, this sudden strain can be enough to trigger a catastrophic event. Furthermore, the act of smoking any substance introduces carbon monoxide and particulates into the bloodstream, which can damage blood vessels and contribute to the buildup of plaque in the arteries over time. This new information challenges the widespread public perception that because cannabis is a plant, it is inherently harmless. Researchers stress that as legalization continues, it is critical for the public and the medical community to have a clear understanding of the potential dangers, especially with high-potency products. They are calling for more comprehensive, long-term studies to fully map out the risks, ensuring that individuals can make truly informed decisions about their health. This new research adds a serious consideration to the conversation around cannabis. How does this kind of information impact the public perception of marijuana's safety and its place in society? We're interested in your perspective. Now back to the Coffee Time crew for their thoughts.
Well, I guess the first thing to say is, I guess no matter what you do, it could be harmful to your health. You know, I, don't necessarily buy into it. I mean, I'll be honest. There's been a couple times when, I've indulged in some, more high in, higher levels of THC product, whatever. I remember the first time, I don't know, Pat, do you ever remember a strain they were calling government cheese? They had one out was called government cheese, but anyway, there was a couple times that, one time I know that's what it was, but my kids actually had shared some stuff with me one time. But bottom line, I just put it this way: I have literally passed out twice from cannabis. I'm just sitting there, hanging out, chilling. We doing our thing, and next thing you know, I'm knocked out. And I don't even know what happened. I don't even know I'm knocked out until, I woke up the first time and my daughter's on the phone calling an ambulance because she didn't know what happened, and so on and so forth. But the way the ambulance driver explained it to me, on the second term, I went in and confessed, only thing I can think of, man, I smoked some stuff called government cheese. What, cannabis? And I said, yeah. He said, okay. He told the ambulance driver to turn the siren off. But basically, he explained that from his, information he gave me at the time was, and it's alternative fact to what they're saying in the article, but they said it basically lowers your blood pressure to a point to where I passed out. Now is that, the verge of a stroke or something? I don't know, but
Were you
but
was it like after hanging out or like right after consuming?
right after consuming,
Because
right
me, I've been tracking my heart rate and my health since like Apple Watch 2, okay? And we're on Apple Watch 10, okay? Um, I know because I run my heart rate monitor when I have consumed, and I know after consuming, it elevates your heart rate, and that's due to you consuming coffee or even getting a little hot because you're consuming and stuff like that, and I have noticed it, um, and things like that. Um, So I know it does raise your heart rate, but it also calms you after a certain time, I guess you could say, that passes, depending on what strain and the potency as well. That's a really thing to honestly to think about
Well,
when you're first time consuming.
right. And again, I want to take it back to something else when we talk about a strain. I mean, understanding that like indica is something that's gonna more relax you, right? Where sativa is gonna amp you up.
Well, yes, yeah, indica's gonna have you on the woozy side, more of a body effect.
Right.
Yeah, so if you're going to be dancing or moving, you might be a little lazy, or you might be a little like, whoa, like, um, sativa for me, it affects, but it doesn't hit you hard that you're like, I need to sit down on the couch and just lay here.
No, I mean again, it's to me it's more where it amps you up versus making you where you want to just chill.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I mean. I mean I used to call you know when I back in the day I would during the day or whatever I do sativa during the day. I call it motivator. It would motivate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It was like drinking coffee. I smoke me a joint or whatever, and boom, I'm just busy knocking out work. When I get home in the evening after dinner, whatever, okay, now I smoke me some indica, and now I'm ready to chill, watch me some TV, and go to bed.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So it's knowing how to consume. It's like when people drink, you have different types of drinks. Even when it comes to wine, you have the red, white, and you
Right.
have different tastes. It's an acquired taste to certain ones that you find, and then once you find the one you like, and you know what I mean, it's something like that.
Right.
Um,
Right. I mean, I'm not a huge indulger, but I have, used, and I do remember, uh, my first time using what they call Kush. I actually called the paramedics because my heart was racing out of control. And I'm like, what is happening? And when the paramedics got here, I fully disclosed what I did. And they said it was nothing that they could do. They actually left and said, you just gonna have to go through this trip, you know. Uh, and
and
that's exactly what
wow,
happened.
wow, wow. But
Yeah, because
yes.
there was nothing that, that they could do. But I'm telling you, I thought that my heart was about to come out of my chest, but
Uh,
I had indulged too much. And I was a baby, according to, the friends that I talked to. They like, oh no, you just was supposed to take a couple of puffs and, you got to ease your way into it. And I'm like, well, thanks for telling me
Exactly.
that stuff now. You
And
know, I
and to
call the
any
paramedics.
yes, and to anyone listening, depending how you're consuming, if it's eating, remember that effects will take, I say, allow an hour and a half before even consuming another piece. And remember, if you have,
especially edibles, because
especially edibles,
I mean,
especially edibles.
again, the stuff you describing, Carol, I've seen it happen several times with edibles, and more often than not, it was people that do not consume on a regular basis.
Right.
Yes, yes.
Right.
So,
Well, see,
so,
what the
mhm,
edibles remind me of is like liquor compared to beer. You drinking the liquor, but it doesn't hit you like the beer will until later. So you're not feeling it right away. So
mm,
you indulge in a little bit more. And then all of a sudden, boom, you get this
mhm.
explosion. And it's like, I'm tripping so bad.
Yeah, and
But
Right.
if you're starting, I recommend with a 5 milligram or a 10 milligram, no higher. If it's one of your first times, or if it is your first times, go with a safe bet of 5 milligram and wait an hour to an hour and a half. Now, consuming, like smoking, you will feel it more faster, but also beware, take a hit, one or two, but give it time. There's no rush, you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Right.
Give it time.
You know,
And people end up, and that's what kind of gives it a negative name and a negative, like, don't do that, because people end up calling the ambulance and paramedics, and I know why they might feel like that. Oh, they're just wasting their time. There's other people that might need this emergency help, and that's what I'm
right.
saying. Take it easy, and if you're someone that consumes and has a friend that wants to consume, keep that in mind. Start them slow. You don't want to hit them with a triple dose or a double dose, and that person may not even want to try it again, or nothing, might get a negative
Right.
cut.
Right.
And on that note, you also have to understand the packaging. So, I mean, if you go buy any consumable edible, right?
Hmm.
On the packaging, it might say it's, let's say you buy a bag of gummy bears. It might say, okay, well, this is 100 milligrams of THC. But now you take that and divide it by how many pieces of gummy bears you have.
Right.
Okay. So again, you could have 100 milligram bag, but it could be 100 gummy bears, and that means there's only 1 milligram per gummy. So that Pedro was talking about, 5 or 10 or whatever. You have to understand the packaging and understand how to do that calculation, right? And then within that, you say, okay, well, I don't do a whole lot of this, so let me just eat one at 5 or 10 or whatever the case may be. And then, like you say, you wait, 45 minutes or so. If you ain't feeling it, or you're taking it for your pain or whatever the case may be, because I know a lot of people that do edibles for their pain.
Yes.
Again, give it time, and then if you're not still got pain, 45 minutes, an hour later, go ahead and consume another one. But don't just sit there and, well, I'm going to eat them until I feel it, until the pain goes away. No, because then when it all kicks in, now you're going to get into that, where your heart rate and all that other kind of stuff is going off on you. So just be careful with it, folks. That's the main thing. Pay attention to what you're doing, just like anything else. Know what it is you're consuming, whether it's alcohol or whatever,
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I don't consume alcohol really, like, I really don't. Yesterday, I just had a little splash on a small cup, and that's it. Like, I prefer, consuming marijuana, because number one, I know I cannot pass the line that where I won't remember anything. I don't like to, like, black out, and I feel like I get more woozier on drinking, and I don't drink beer. It's what I drink is liquor. So I take it slowly with that, especially
Right.
that. I used to drink
Right.
a lot with that, but you know, no, now I just keep it more, relaxed on
Now,
it.
on that
What's
note, I mean, like yesterday, I had 2 drinks. I didn't even feel them.
right?
You
Well, what's
know,
so amazing to me down here in Texas, marijuana is not legal, but you smell it everywhere. You smell it more than cigarettes. But the deal is that, to me, I've never thought that it was outrageous compared to cocaine or opiates, whether it's synthetic, you're
Oh,
taking a pill, or you're taking heroin, or alcohol.
no.
Alcohol is so prevalent here, to
Well,
where you have more DWIs, DUIs, but everybody's complaining about marijuana, and it's a law right now that they're trying to not pass, uh
but
and
see, again, Kerry, you have to understand, they couldn't find anything wrong with it other than the fact that society didn't approve of it back in the day. So
right,
they did it as a Schedule A narcotic drug, right?
right,
When
right,
it nowhere fits in that category,
right, of
but they
course.
put it there in order to criminalize it.
And there's so many people, like you're saying, that benefit from marijuana. You have individuals who can't eat, or on hospice, or have some type of ailment or pain, or it's medicinal product of something that helps so many people. But
Right.
I don't understand the hype that they're trying to place out there, to where
Well,
individuals are not robbing stores because they're on marijuana. They're not getting into, horrific car accidents because they're on marijuana. I just wish that they would just leave it alone. And, 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 and allow people to make their own choice of what they choose to do with their own body.
But Carol, but even over here, even though it's legal, there's so much negative, like towards
Stigma.
that negative stigma. Like I take a walk, so even in the park, I will go out to the sidewalk. I will take off, but man, I get people will say negative things, and I hear them later, and I'm like, well, man, I was gone, and I know it might smell and stuff, but
Well,
it still has a
and
negative.
I'm the opposite guy, because you can't sit here and tell me anything about me smoking weed while you sitting there with a drink in your hand.
Right. And people
Okay.
gonna always talk. It ain't what they
So
say, it's what you answer to. So you
on
call
that
me
note,
whatever you want to, but if I don't answer to it, it ain't me.
right. So anyway, on that note, just be aware, pay attention. I mean, again, even whether it's cannabis, alcohol, whatever drug it is, even the one the doctor prescribed, pay attention, man, and just, know what you're doing, what you're consuming in your body. That's the most important thing. And know what your limits are. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, on that note, folks, it is the end of our magnificent Monday. And we'll be back again tomorrow. So as always, in closing, please like, subscribe, share, comment, hit your notification, whatever platform you're on. Please take care of that and handle it for us. And man, don't forget to get at us and see if I can get your t-shirt, And I'm not going to call no names out, but you know who you are. There's somebody that has filled out an order form, but I'm sorry, I ain't mailing no shirt until I receive confirmation that we've been paid. So you know who you are. If you haven't made your payment yet, please do. And I promise as soon as I get that, I'll ship that shirt out right to you. So anyway, on that note, again, thank you guys so very much for all you do and, helping us out here with Blind United. We are just trying to do what we can, to serve our community the best way we know how. So on that note, we will see you folks again tomorrow. And please enjoy the rest of your Monday and have a great rest of your day. See you on the next one.